All right, we're going with part 2 on this one, the hanging garden. And this time around, we're going to do some cute little furniture. The hardest part about doing these kits for me is how am I going to break this up into nice bite-sized pieces so that I can relay it to you in a less complicated manner. But for this one, I think I'm going to go by the book here, literally, because this kit has each shelf and all the items that go in that shelf all on one page. So that's how we're going to do it. Usually I do all the furniture, then I do all the insides, and then I do all the plants. But we're going to do it how it says it in the book. First page. So we're going to make this cute little blue turquoisey shelf here. And I did happen to have some paint that's the same color. And so what I did is I just kind of lightly stained the edges so it's not that real dark brown. Doesn't look like it's a laser cutted piece of wood. That's the only difference I did. That's completely optional, just something that I did. And this one's pretty straightforward. And you're going to glue everything on this one. And I'm just using my fast dry tacky glue. And just put in the shelves in the order there. And these are so nice. All the pieces are labeled. Hallelujah. And all where you want to put your pieces you have some nice little lines to go by. Nice kit. And just like that, you have yourself a little shelf. Very cute. Very shabby chic. Alright, one of the items that go on this shelf is a little clock. And for the life of me, I cannot find the little piece of paper that had the clock on there. That piece. The 3-1. I lost it somewhere. It happens. No big deal. We're going to go to plan B. So I found a clock somewhere that's close. And I just printed it and got it to the size that I want. I'm just going to use the face because obviously the other part's not going to fit. But that's okay. We can fudge this a little bit. We just need the clock face because that's really hard to paint if I had to recreate it. So we're going to use the face, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to decoupage it on here. So I'm going to put glue on the bottom, and then I'm going to cover it over the top with glue so it's got that shiny sheen on it, and no one's none the wiser. See? Like it's always meant to be. Next up, we got a little plant on there. We put this on our shelf, and it's just these little funky little green things. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. And we're just going to cut them down and glue them into the pot. We also have a little newspaper. This one, the only tricky part is how you fold it, but honestly, you could fold it any way you want. It's just, like you read the newspaper and threw it on the shelf. And you didn't think we'd get away with not making books. Of course there's books. In every single kit there's a book. So by now we should be experts, right? But this one's pretty easy. So you're going to make a box. This is our faux stack of books. So we're going to cut it out. And I always kind of pre-crease it with my ruler. I just put it along the seams and just very lightly with the back of my X-Acto, so I don't accidentally cut through. Sometimes my X-Acto is super sharp, sometimes it's not. but it's always sharp when you don't want it to be, right? So just to be safe, use the back of the X-Acto and just lightly score it. It makes it a nice crisp crease there for when you fold it up. Just like that. I'm just gonna glue it on the little flappies there and put it together, and you got yourself a little stack of books. Much easier than making each one individually. But hang on, we're gonna do that. Alright, we're gonna make 8 books here. And that's pretty straightforward. We're gonna cut these little pieces out. That's gonna be your book, in quotes. And then the pieces of paper are going to be your book covers. Now, you're going to notice you're making more books than you need for the shelf. That's because those books, they will go in other parts and pieces. So you might as well make them all at once right now. Save some time for later. Alright, we got all our little books. They're very cute. We're only going to use about 3 or 4 of them for this little part, but that's okay. Alright, now let's start putting stuff on the shelf. Now for those books on the bottom, you could don't worry about if you put the wrong books on the wrong shelf. It doesn't matter. Just put them however you want. As long as you have the same amount. So this is asking for 4 little books. Find 4 little books and put them on the bottom. And they only fit sideways. They won't fit straight up and down. Ta-da! That wasn't so bad, right? On to the next. Alright. Basically, doing the same thing, just different shape. So this is like a little ladder bookshelf. And there's 3 sizes for our shelves. And they will correspond with the side of your ladder. I did do a little bit of light yellow painting on the brown side. Just to cut down that sharp brown edge. Optional. I just decided to be fancy. But so you just put the little shelf on the top and get bigger and bigger all the way down. Once you get the little shelves on, then you just cap it off with the capital letter A. Just line it up. And you could let those little shelves dry first before doing this part so it doesn't fold up on you. But if you put a really light, thin amount of glue, it does dry quickly with that tacky glue. Here we go. Alright, you know the drill. Now we gotta fill it up. Let's see what's going to go inside. First up, we're going to make this little box. Same thing we did when we made our pretend stack of books. This one's going to have flowers and a little bit of moss in there. So we're just going to cut it out, score it on the dotted lines, and fold it up. And the large flaps that are on the top, instead of making a solid box, you're going to fold it all the way in because we're making kind of a little crate. All right, now we're going to fill it up. This stuff is strange. It's just string, really. Like when you get unraveled yarn, kind of. That's what it feels like. So you're just going to cut enough, or a little piece, just enough to fill the bottom, just lightly. And then we're going to put a couple little flower bulb things in there. And I did end up kind of cutting those flowers, almost the stems completely off for that to fit in the way I wanted it to. They just kept sticking up too much. So I trimmed those down just a little bit. All right, next up we're going to make these rolls of, I'm going to say wrapping paper, probably. And again, we're making more than we need for this particular project. But they're having us, there's a rhyme and reason to this. They're having us do them all at the same time. You just put them in a spot where they won't roll away and you'll lose them, like I always do. And then they'll be for future shelves and things. They do come and play later. I found the easiest way to roll these up was kind of to pre-curl it a little bit, with your fingers, and then use my round nose pliers. Or you could probably wrap it around a pencil or something like that and just twist it around. You're kind of going against the grain of the paper a little bit, so it's fighting you a little bit. But do your best. It doesn't have to be perfect. And there you go. And again, you're going to do more than you need for right now, but you will use them later. Alright, you got this little funny looking thing. It looks like a jello mold. But it's basically, you're going to put this flower bud, weird looking creature thing, and you're going to put it in the bowl. Just glue it in. Just like that. And we have a little vase of flowers. So we got this pretty little bead and some of these little buds. They like using these little bud weird flower things. It's okay. They're easy to work with. And all of those you were just going to cut in half. Boop. Okay, for the little grass or long leaves, I just cut the piece out to the size, the 2.5 by 2 centimeters. And then just fringe it up. You could either just do the standard fringe, or like I did is just kind of roll your scissors so that you get a long blade, kind of a long blade of grass looking. Again, do it however is easier with you. You don't have to do it exactly how they say. Make it your own. Once you get your little crown looking thing here, we're just going to put all of our pieces of flowers in there and roll it up. The hardest part of this is getting this end squished enough to fit in the bead. It's a little tricky. I had to squish it quite a bit and twist it and try to screw it into the bead. Eventually it got in there. Ta-da! After much struggle of getting that little sucker in there. Looks good. Let's start assembling our shelf now. And the only thing on here that you're not going to assemble or anything, is just a straight bead, is that little silver P36 bead. And you just find that in there and just kind of place it on the shelf. It's just supposed to look like a little vase or something decorative. Ta-da! Another one done. It's not so bad, right? We can keep going. Let's make another. Alright, a little more intricate here. Not bad. Just do it in the order that they say, that it makes sense. So, we're going to put the little legs, it looks like, on here. I guess they're more cross beams, and then we're going to put the bottom shelf on. It all lines up. It's a little awkward because it kind of sticks down, so you can't kind of lay it flat at all. But you just stick it right on there. And then we're going to put the top piece on. This probably would be easier to do it in a few steps and waiting for the glue to dry. So those 4 little pegs that go crossways, maybe put those on, let them dry completely, and then you're not struggling like I am here, putting that bottom piece in. Because there, yeah, it does stick out. I remember. It's all coming back to me. And then you just kind of have to hold it and hope that those pieces don't fall when you're trying to straighten it out. Should have waited. And once you get that far, then you just put the top on. That part's easy. There you go. Got a little plant stand. I used to have one like this in real life. Big size. Alright, time for the things that go on the shelf. I liked making these. This is an interesting way of making flowers, and I definitely am storing this in my brain for my own projects. So you're going to take these little beads. Do you remember Campfire Girls or Girl Scouts? You know how, well, I had Campfire Girls, and I had to do a vest, and you would earn beads. That's what these beads remind me of. It was very nostalgic. But you're just going to cut your wire to size, and then you're just going to glue the little beads like little tulips onto the tip of the wires. Alright, so while your little tulips are drying, we're going to make some leaves. Pretty straightforward. You just get your square the size that they want it to be. It's about 4 centimeters tall, and then that 2.5 centimeters wide is how big your piece of paper is going to be, not how big your leaves are going to be. So basically you just need how tall they want them. And you're just going to curve it on one side and then curve it on the other. Just like that. And just make a bunch of those. If you make more, that's fine. You're probably going to use them somewhere else too. This won't be the first time you'll make these leaves. Alright, once you got all your little leaves there, mine are a little skinny, it doesn't matter. They don't have to be perfect. Now we're just going to glue them to the stems, so each one gets one little leaf. Alright, now we got tulips with a little leaf on the end. Very cute. Very Eastery, huh? And now we're just going to put them all in this pretty little bead, which is going to be our vase. Just put a blop of glue in there and start jamming them in. They do fit. Here we go. Last one. Honestly, they do fit in there. And I like to kind of put them so that they don't tip over, so you kind of have to even them out so that the weight distribution is even. Alright, a nice little easy picture in the picture frame. Now, the way I do things is I don't, especially if it's teeny like this, I just glue the frame onto the picture first and then cut it out. It's a whole lot easier for me. And then you don't have to worry about lining it up exactly, or if you cut it too small or anything like that. So I just glue it directly on there. If you get really gloppy on your glue, you can make it work in your favor. Just put more glue in the middle so it looks like it was all decoupaged in there. And I'm definitely sloppy with the glue. So I just spread that out a little bit and it makes it a little shiny inside. Now we got another box. We know how to do this. Cut it out, crease it, fold it up, glue it. Once we have our little box, there's all sorts of things that go in here. And remember those extra pieces of rolled up paper? Yep, those go in here. See, you knew they would come in play eventually. And then just a smidgen of this funky little yarn stuff, and then it'll tell you which plant bud goes where. And then your picture frame goes in there too. Ta-da! We're not done making boxes or books. We got 2 more here, and these are going to end up being long, skinny little book boxes, basically. Same thing as making a box, except it's just a funky little shape. Very doable. Why we didn't make them the other way, I don't know. We just follow directions, right? But here's our 2 little books. These are going to go on our little plant shelf thing. Now on this one, you're going to notice there's a few extra pieces in there that we did not build, but that's okay. They're just beads. You don't really have to make them. There's a little cup, and there's a spare little flower. So we just glue them where they say. Now we're starting to feel accomplished. Cute. Super cute. Next. Now we're purposely ramping up a little bit. They're not difficult. It's just more pieces, right? So this one is kind of a 2-tier little shelf. Just pay attention to which direction your pieces go and just glue them in order. I also painted a little bit on the sides on these too, just to be different. And once you get this far, see, I'm just impatient and I don't wait for the glue to dry. We're just going to put the tops on. They are 2 different sizes, so they only fit one way. Ta-da! Alright, time to make these little guys. These turn out kind of neat. They're kind of like, like lily of the valley, like the bluebell kind of plants, except they're red. But you just take the little pre-made flower tops, and then we're going to cut 4 pieces of wire. They're all kind of staggered in size. This this plant here, it does not use all 4, so keep that in mind. So you're going to have 1 extra, and there's a reason, because you're going to put that 1 extra somewhere else. I like how they plan this for you, is if we're going to make 1, we might as well make all of them, kind of thing. Once you get all your wires, what you're going to do is just basically put a loop at the end. This is so when you put your little flower tops on there, they don't fall all the way through. You need something to grab. And then just a little bend. There we go. Just like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put your little flower top on there. And you're going to see why we put a loop at the end. Go all the way so it doesn't fall through. Just like that. Before we get too far, we got to cut some of these pieces. This is going to be kind of your little middle stamens in the middle of your flower. We're kind of making an exotic flower here. So you're going to cut it all the way down so that there's no string. And you're going to do as many as you have flowers, so 4 of them. Alright, let's start building this flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a plop of glue here on the little hook. And then I'm going to scooch up the flower and then put one of those green, what do you call them? Little bulbous pieces. Stick it right there. Boop. And scooch up the flower. There we go. It looks like they were all one piece. We're going to do that to all 4 of them. Very cool. And we're going to set those aside to dry. And in the meantime, we got to make some leaves for them. Remember when I said this wouldn't be the first time we'd make these style of leaves? Here we go again. I think these are slightly longer, but you could definitely use extras that you made from the last one. It'll all work out. I think these are just a little bit chunkier. Alright, you're going to only use 3 of these 4, so you're going to set 1 aside. I kind of looked at the plans there, and the littlest one, the shortest one, is going to get set aside. So we'll set that one aside, and then these 3 are going to get bound together. Just twist them up at the end. Once you got those so that they stay together, I kind of did it tighter than needed, but that's okay. We're going to start putting these into the pot. So the way I did it is I just kind of put a dab of glue in there, put the flowers in, and then jammed the little leaves in around it until it was arranged the way I liked it. And there you go. You got some pretty little red flowers. I like these. And for this next little arrangement here, you're going to make these little roses, and I will go in full detail in the next video. So if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe so that you don't miss that one. I think it's kind of a way we've done them before, but a little different. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, you only need 1 for this one. And then you're just going to need just a snippet of the leaves. One that has the little pink tips and one that's just all green. Just a couple. Save all your extras. You're going to use them, I'm sure, somewhere. And it has 3 long leaves here. So what you're going to do is just fold it in half. I then glued it and then cut them out. And that's pretty much it. If you've lost this piece of paper, you probably could just go back to those other type of leaves where you just kind of cut it out of the green crepe paper. Same thing. This just looks a little more fancy, a little bit stiffer. Next, you're going to get your pretty little bead here. This is going to be your flower vase, and then just do your flower arrangement. Ta-da! There you go. And all that work, here's your reward, is you get to rearrange or arrange your shelf here. So put everything on there. And there's 2 of your books. See, that's why we made a whole bunch at the head time. They all go on the shelves somewhere here and there. And again, it doesn't matter which books you put on which shelf. You can put them wherever you want. Next up, we're going to do this little flower pot. So it's pretty basic. It's just a box. So just do it in the orders that it says on there, and pay attention to if it goes on the outside or on the inside so that it fits properly. And once you got your little planter box, you're just going to make sure everybody knows what's inside by labeling it flower. This is pretty much how the same thing we did with those other bunch of flowers where you rolled them up. So originally I was going to do kind of the rounded grass blades, but then I decided, you know what? I'm just going to fringe it up. Why have a headache? And so I just fringed it and then cut these into 4 pieces, because you need 4 little bundles of flowers. And then once you get your 4 little pieces, you're going to cut your flowers in half, because you only need half of them. You need 4 sets, so 4 of each color, basically. Now, for some reason, you use the wrong colors, because they do have a couple different ones in there. It doesn't matter. I mean, as long as it's the same type of flower, you're good. And then just roll them all up. You'll end up with 4 little bundles. Now once I got all these and I floofed them out and I tested it here, and they were just a smidgen too tall. So what I did is I just folded the ends just like that, and then I'm going to glue them in like that. Plus it gives it a little more bulk. There you go. Cute little flower box. Alright, now we got a little table. Pretty straightforward. So first we're going to glue this little plus sign one. This is where the legs are going to fit in. And we're just going to glue that to the tabletop there. And it's just a little bit smaller, so you just kind of eyeball it and center it as best as you can. While that's drying, we'll make the legs, and you just crisscross it there. They do fit, and if you feel they're too loose, by all means put some a little dab of glue in there. And then you just put your legs into the little X there. X marks the spot. Now I waited to do this part until it was all dry. Otherwise it would slide all over the place. But basically you're just going to edge all the way around your table with this little lace. I didn't even measure, I just glued it on and then trimmed it to size. I don't think you use that lace anywhere else. Alright, we got our little table. Now, of course, we have to get the stuff to put on the table. Little accessories for the table is pretty easy. So this one is just basically this little flower bead goes on top of the round bead, and it makes a little vase looking thing. Cute idea. I still don't know what these little orange things are supposed to represent. They look like little tomatoes or something. But or flower buds, or I don't know. But you just need the moss and a few parts and pieces, and we're just going to have a bowl full of, what do you think? Red peppers? Tomatoes? Oranges? I don't know. Once you get these all glued in, probably the hardest part is getting these little thingies to stay straight. I probably could have waited for this to dry a little more before going to the next step by putting the little base on, but you know, I'm always impatient because it did kind of slip a lot. And then you just put the little bottom. And the last thing for the table is these little seed packets. Just pieces of paper cut out. So, can't be any easier than that, right? And now start I keep wanting to say rearrange. Arranging. You could rearrange it, I guess. Arranging your table here. Another part done. Woohoo! This kit's fun. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. Alright, so since we're doing furniture for this round, we had to do the piano. This looks a little crazy just because it has a lot of parts and pieces, but if you do it one step at a time, it's not that hard. So the first thing you're going to do is the keyboard. So the white and black keys there. So you just cut it out. When I was doing this, I was noticing it's like, now oh gosh, from about 5th grade, almost through high school, I played piano. Yeah, I was one of those. And I looked at this and it's like, there is something this isn't right. I mean, the black keys don't go on the bottom, they go on the top. See? I have proof. They're backwards. So I had to flip them around because that would bug me if they stayed the way they wanted them to. I don't think they knew what a piano looks like. That's alright. I flipped them around and then I just painted the edge that wasn't covered by the paper if they had done it right. I guess I could have folded it the other way if I thought about it, but I just painted the edge and now it looks right. Next, we're just going to wallpaper the little square piece. I think it goes behind where the keys are. And now we're going to start building a piano. Who would have thought, right? Now pay attention to where the holes are and where the little notches are. They do fit one way. It is literally like a little puzzle. So we'll find the feet and the side, and I did end up gluing all of these pieces. Now we're just going to build the little pedal bar, which isn't exactly right, but you know, can't be perfect. Putting this little leg and then the little pedal bar on the front, because they were so small and wobbly, they were tricky. So I would probably, in hindsight, say let it dry before you go too far, because they'll just keep falling off and you just end up regluing. Don't do as I do. And now we're going to put the piano keys in the right way, not that way, this way. There we go. I guess if I even folded it the longer way, the black keys would have been too long anyway. So yeah, I'm glad I did it this way. Looks right. Now you're going to have these funny little squiggly pieces, and they do give you a spare. That little plus, that's an extra piece. Because I can imagine if you took these out, they would break very easily. They're very thin. But all you're going to do is just stack them up. So I just glued them together, and then you're going to stick them to the back. Starting to look like a little baby grand here. And now we're just going to cover this up. We have a very arty piano here. It's kind of marbly, kind of tie-dye looking. I don't know what the pattern they're going for. It's pretty. So we're just going to wrap it all the way around. It does fit pretty much exactly. Once we got that all set, then we're going to put this little piece. Now the reason we didn't do this before we put it together was because this, all the way around the edge, it covers all those little notches. I'm going to let this dry just a little bit, and then I'm going to punch those holes out, because we do need those holes. Alright, we got some funny little pieces. Just pay attention to the direction that they go. They do make sense when they're put in there. It's what holds up the lid. So normally, on the piano here, this lid would open up and you would be able to see all the strings underneath. This one's just all closed. Again, they don't know what a piano looks like. Alright, we got those in, let them dry a little bit, and now we're going to put the music stand on here. Now they wanted it kind of flush, and then the music book would just kind of stick on there, so I put it back just a little bit. I like mine to make sense, so I'm just going to stagger it back just a smidgen, and then when I get the music book, I can set the book on there, because that's how you do it. And the book is just a teeny tiny little piece of paper that you fold slightly in half. Let it set open. And then you just glue it right. Oh, don't drop it. Ah! I do that a lot. You just don't see it. And then just glue it right there in the middle. And one more piece to the piano is the lid. It does have a little marbly cover, so we're going to do that. And then it sets almost just exactly on those 3 little pieces that you put on there. There we go. And the trick on this one, so it doesn't just slide right off, is go very light on the glue. Alright, we need a bench for our piano. Pretty straightforward. So there's the bench part. And what we're going to do is we're going to glue the little cross beam here. Let's make sure your little notches are going the right direction. Center it as best as you can. And I went a little extra on glue on purpose. This time, yes, I did on purpose. Just so that those side pieces would stick down too. I did just a little bit more. And then we'll put the feet on, or the legs. And there is a little music book that we stick on this bench, because we got music everywhere. We've made these kind of books before. Basically, you're just going to fold it on the dotted lines, in, out, accordion fold, and then just glue it together. And just place it on your bench there. Yeah, don't glue the book shut, otherwise you don't get that effect of it's just flapping in the wind there. I decided to do one more thing because this counts as furniture, I think, and it's just a easel for painting. So we're going to punch out all our pieces, place our painting on. It left us a nice little square to line it up on. And we're going to glue our little painting here. And it just kind of goes up a little bit off of that bottom rung there, because you got to have room to put your little ledge there. Place the little shelf there so that your painting can rest on it. You could do this the other way around. It would probably work either way. And then the back leg. I did have a little bit of trouble with this staying on there because it's at a wonky angle and you still want it to lay kind of flat. So just kind of be patient. You might have to hold it there for a second or two. and we don't like to stand while painting. Well, these guys don't. So we're going to make a little stool, or it could be a little stool to put all your paints and stuff. And it's pretty basic, so you're going to put, it's kind of like a U shape, kind of, sort of. And you're going to put that right in the middle. And then you're going to put those two little half circle shapes on each side of there. Then you're going to make a little pencil. You're just going to cut it, and then the very edge or tippy tip, we're just going to mark that up with a marking pen. Got a little tiny, I guess it's supposed to be a paintbrush or a marker or a pencil. Either way. So this is when I realized I goofed a little bit. When I was making all those rolls of wallpaper, I guess I did one too many, because one was supposed to be this little piece. That it's just an extra painting that is draped over the stool. It's okay. I found one that kind of looks painting-ish that I had left over, and we'll just trim it down and we'll make it look like a nice, neat little painting that we have. No problem. We improvise. And then I'm just going to curl it all up so it looks a little more natural laying on the stool there. All right, we did a lot. We made shelves, we made a piano, we made an easel with a painting, did some plants, enough, yeah, and books. We did a lot, so I thought, I think that's good enough for this video. That's a lot to do. Hopefully you had fun watching and you're also making it along with me. Hopefully it's helpful. And if you like it, again, just do a little thumbs up there, and then I get into your recommended, and not just me, you'll get others that are like me. Believe it or not, I'm not the only one out there. Woo. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. We're going to do a bunch of more plants and things. I think we're getting close to putting it all together. Bye. See ya.